Soybeans for food plots. We're going to be talking about ways to rally and maximize potential this fall today on Landbeat. Soybean food plots are a very popular food plot to plant for whitetail deer and in a hunting strategy. Of course, we love them as well because there's so much great forage through the summer, very attractive late season. So if you can get them to maturity and produce pods, they are incredible. A lot of us are starting to deal with high deer densities and Roundup tolerant weeds, so we've had to get creative to use fences or other herbicides to get soybeans to maturity to provide that food source that we want through hunting season. But today I'm standing in a relatively new plot that we created. This is the first year of really good soybeans, but as you look at it from the ground, we see that we have some heavy browse pressure on the eastern side of this field. Indicates to us that most of the deer are probably coming from the east and working their way out here, and this is where they're spending a lot more time. The western side of the field is completely closed canopy, almost hip tall beans, and very attractive food source that will make a lot of beans for hunting late season. But on this side, we're trying to make sure that we don't have just a lot of bare ground. As you can look around, you can see lots of space between the soybeans or one soybean plant to the next. So there's a lot of bare ground, which can also open the door for weeds to take hold. Since it's a newer plot, we don't have a lot of weeds here yet, but as we begin to progress forward, there'll be a lot more weeds that come into this area. We can solve this and help provide other food attractions, especially you can already start to see some yellowing of the leaves on these soybeans. That's because we've been about 3 weeks without rain, even though we just got rain last night and yesterday. So they may perk up, but we're getting into mid to late August and the beans are starting to get a little, the bean plants are starting to focus more on blooming and making pods than they are leaves. And so in doing so, we have a lot of bare ground and we don't want to have this void in time of forage here available for deer, meaning we don't want the leaves are not going to go deer forage on leaves, forage on leaves, forage on leaves, shift right over to forage on pods. There's going to be a time when the leaves start to become too mature, they're not attractive, and now we're in the waiting game waiting for the pods to be attractive. This is a simple solution. You can come in where you have these openings, overbrowse beans, and overseed with an annual fall blend or an annual fall plant like a radish or a turnip or wheat or oats as we get a little bit later into the summer, like September and October, and we can have that growing up underneath the soybeans. A perfect world, if you were to try to pin me down and ask for a perfect world, I would tell you that I would love to see soybeans hip tall with pods all over them, but enough gap between them to where we can get some greens growing up underneath them. The west side of this field, we don't have that because it's completely shaded. This side, we have that, but we also are battling too many deer, too much forage. This is a great alternative to help combat heavy deer pressure on soybean plots so where you don't have deer leaving this area to go chase other food sources and then waiting for them to shift back when the bean pods are produced. So this is an awesome, cheap, very inexpensive way to maximize production in your soybean food plots.